The Fair Trade Independent Tobacco Association has been granted another chance to compel government to overturn its decision to ban tobacco sales. The Supreme Court of Appeal granted FITA leave to appeal the High Court's decision to dismiss its challenge against the government's decision. FITA is arguing there's no evidence that the ban on its products alleviates pressure on the health system. Government banned tobacco sales in late March as part of its plan to fight COVID-19 and to help ease the burden on hospitals. The ruling comes as there is much speculation that government will this weekend, or rather today, announce the unbanning of the tobacco sales as the country prepares to ease lockdown regulations. Well, staying on that story, President Cyril Ramaphosa will tonight address the nation at 8 p.m. The move comes as the national state of disaster comes to an end at midnight. Joining me now in studio to give us a sense of these news is Newzroom Afrika reporter Mbali Thethani. Good afternoon to you, Mbali. Thank you so much for your time. A sigh of relief maybe for all South Africans across the country that now we know that the president will be speaking to us and giving us the next steps. But really, what can we anticipate?
Well, of course, Matapelo, we know that South Africans have been waiting with anticipation to finally see when the president will be delivering that address. We are expecting him to give us that address at around 8 o'clock. We know that he has been busy with consultations. He has been speaking to premiers. He has been speaking to MECs for much of the morning. We also know that right now he is in a cabinet meeting and he is briefing the various cabinet ministers. So this is something that we have been expecting. We know that that deadline was, of course, today, and we are yet to hear if whether we are indeed ready to move from lockdown level 3 to lockdown level 2. We have seen in the past, in the recent days, with the health minister saying that this virus has plateaued for now. It seems as if we have reached the spike that we did anticipate for the past couple of months. It did come in from around June, July. You know, even when we heard even the Premier of Gauteng, David Makura, earlier in the week saying that, well, in terms of the state of readiness, in terms of their preparedness, it seems as if Gauteng is indeed ready to go down to a lesser level. We know that, you know, the issues around this lockdown restrictions, we did see a number of companies closing down. We also saw a number of people even losing their jobs. So right now, I'm sure the one task that the president does indeed have is how he will indeed save the economy and how he will save jobs.
Mbali, before we actually just a little bit talk now more on those consultations, timing is everything, and it's seemingly that the president has left this to the last minute. You know, there's so much agitation and so much anxiousness on the ground from South Africans not knowing exactly what the next step is going to say. Does this mean anything at all that very at the last minute the president will only come to say these are going to be the next steps?
Well, we can only speculate. We know that a number of South Africans are waiting for that lift on the alcohol sales, the lift as well on cigarettes. We also know that in terms of traveling as well, we are expecting to hear something about whether people can start the interprovincial traveling, whether borders will be opened. So, you know, we can only speculate why it took him so long and why he really waited until the last minute.
Do you think maybe, and I know that you might not necessarily have the correct answers, as all South Africans really need to wait for him to really address the nation as to what exactly is going to happen. But when we're looking at the mounting calls throughout now leading up to today, we've seen, you know, alliance partners, have seen COSATU also coming up to the fore, calling on president to really open up the economy. And when we're saying opening up the economy, is also to lift the ban on the sale of tobacco and alcohol. Do you think now that he's really under pressure in actually making this choice really come to life?
Well, we will hear and wait for him to, of course, give us that briefing much later on. And, you know, when you look at the situation and where we find ourselves right now under lockdown level 3, we have been under lockdown level 3 for quite some time now, and we've been under lockdown for 5 months. So he is indeed tasked with the whole issue of around reopening of the economy. But at the same time, we have been warned around seeing a second surge in infections. So when he does these consultations, he has to look at whether if we we are indeed see the surge again in infections, do we have the capacity in terms of the healthcare sector? Do we have enough beds? Do we have enough facilities in hospitals to also deal should we see a second surge? So it is quite a difficult task to maneuver around.
We just have a little over less than a minute now, but however, it's quite interesting then to see that with all this anticipation with regards to easing the lockdown regulations, Gauteng is seemingly with the experts saying that we are indeed ready to move to level 2 of the lockdown, same as for the Western Cape. However, when we're looking at provinces such as KZN, who are yet to reach their peak, what does this mean, the risks involved in that?
And this is something that Sihle Zikalala, the Premier, has cited, that, their major concern is indeed, they are expecting a surge. They have not really reached their peak. So this is something that when he was consulting with the premiers, that they, of course, they have to look into. But in terms of Gauteng, in terms of the Western Cape, they've experienced their surge. It has plateaued for now. So it seems as if things should be under control. But you never know. When you reopen the economy, more things are opening up. So you can expect more economic activity, but you can expect even more infections. So this is something of great importance as well, especially if you look at the healthcare sector. It has been strained. We've seen Gauteng previously saying that when they reopened, or rather when the lift on the was lifted on the selling of shebeens and taverns and so forth, we did see trauma units as well being overcrowded. So there was also that whole issue. So now, in terms of where we are, where we find ourselves, well, they say that they are now ready to get into another level.
All right, Mbali, I guess we all have to wait and see then what President Cyril Ramaphosa will have to say when he addresses the nation at 8 p.m. tonight. Newzroom Afrika reporter Mbali Thethani joining me over there.